Okay, so today we're going to look at OR, which is the union of two sets. They don't have to have anything in common to be a part of the solution set, the two separate inequalities when we put them together. Like with AND, they had to have something in common, and what they had in common was the solution. OR is different. We don't have to have anything in common. If they do have solutions in common, then we'll probably have to end up rewriting our solution. But we'll come across, when we come across that, we will work on that. So let's look at this one. Again, you just solve each inequality separately. So on the left where I have 2x is less than or equal to 6, in order to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by 2. And that's going to give me x is less than or equal to 6. I don't change the direction of the inequality because I'm not dividing by a negative number. So it stays as it is. I don't have to do anything else with this inequality. So maybe in somebody else's world of mathematics, 6 divided by 2 would be 6, but it is not. It is 3. Thank you. Sometimes I get ahead of myself and I'm talking and writing what I'm talking about and or not. So, okay. Wow, I better be using my calculator today. Second inequality, I'm going to divide by 3. And 12 divided by 3, somebody help me out.
4.
Thank you. So there we go. Oh, and I better put in between the word OR. Okay, so I'm going to try to just do one graph. A lot of times when I graph my OR solutions, I won't need to do a second graph or a third graph. I just can do it all on one graph. So I am going to try that. If we have some overlapping though, I'm going to have to rewrite my graph because it'll look a little sloppy with it overlapped. So x is less than or equal to 3 means we will have a filled in circle at 3. And less than means going to the left. And then x greater than 4 means open circle at 4 and everything to the right. So no intersection, no messiness in this graph. We're saying that any of the two parts of that solution, of that graph that we have identified, would be a solution to our inequality. So make sure you're getting this graph written down. And let's talk about how either of these would work. So I'm going to pick a point in the x is less than or equal to 3 interval. So I'm going to use 0. And when I put 0 in here, 2 times 0 is 0. 0 is less than or equal to 6. So it works in that one, doesn't have to work in the other one. It only has to work in one or the others. Because if we plugged in 0 on the right, 3 times 0 is 0. 0 is not greater than 12. But OR doesn't mean it has to work for both. It can work for one or the other and still be part of our solution. So let's look at 5. 5 is in the other part of our solution. So if I plugged in 5 for x on the left, 2 times 5 is 10. 10 is not less than or equal to negative 6. But when I plug in 5 here, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 is greater than 12. So it doesn't have to work in both when we have OR. It has to only work in one or the other to be part of our solution. We're going to add 5 to the other side. So plus 5, plus 5. That's going to give me x is greater than or equal to 3, hopefully. Did I do that correctly? Okay. Again, on this one on the right, we can also add 5 to both sides. And I get x is less than or equal to negative 1. And I better put OR. So I'm going to graph. And x is greater than or equal to 3. Abby, what's that going to mean for us on our number line? Closed circle at 3, going which direction? Right, correct. Tawny, x is less than or equal to a -1. What does that mean on our graph? How do I graph that? Okay. Which direction? Left. Less than is to the left. And I forgot to show on the other problem that this would be our first solution. That's how we would write it as an inequality. This is how we would write it as on a number line, showing the solution set on the number line. Okay. Gemma, first step on the left. 4x minus 1 is less than 15. Add 1. And we get 4x is less than 16. And then what? Divide by 4. And I believe that is going to be 4. So x is less than 4. Then on the right, Caitlin, what do I do on the right? Divide by 8. Do I need to change the direction of my inequality? Nope. So then I'm going to bring this all the way down here, and I get x is greater than or equal to 6, I believe. Okay, only one step on that one. Okay, so let's look at our number line, and we've got four and 6 that we're working with. So x less than 4, James, x less than 4. How do we graph that? Yep. Which direction do I go? Correct. Trenton, x greater than or equal to 6. What do I do to graph that? Okay. To the right. Very good. So, there's our inequality solution. There is the graph. Let's do one more. I'm going to get number 15 from yesterday's assignment put up here, and we'll go through that. Camilla, what's my first step with the inequality on the left? Subtract 2. And so then on the left, I have 3n is less than -4 plus 7n. Hadley, what do you think we do now? Going to move the 7n over, so it's going to be subtracting 7n. And so I get a -4n is less than -4. Talon, what now? Divide by -4. And that's going to give us n, but because we divided by a negative, we're going to change the direction. N is greater than 1. Okay, so the second inequality, Gabby, first step, what do you think we need to do? Add 4. So we get 8n is less than or equal to 3n plus 0. Correct? Okay. Evan, what do we do now? I'm going to put plus 0 just for fun. Well, we need to get all of our n's on one side. Subtract 3n. Good. So that's going to give us 5n is less than or equal to, all I have on the right is 0. No n's. -4 plus 4 was 0. So how do I get n by itself? Kimberly, what am I going to do to both sides? Divide by 5. And I get n is less than or equal to 0. Okay, so let's graph that. N greater than 1, Jarrett. What am I doing?
Open circle.
In which direction?
Left.
For greater than 1.
Right.
Right, correct. So we're looking at numbers greater than 1. 2 is greater than 1. 3 is greater than 1. Then the other one, N is less than or equal to 0. Nolan, what do we do? And to the left. There we go. So that's our inequality. And there's the graph for our solution. Okay, what I need for you to do now is I need for you to go to your homework log. And we're going to write a few things down, and then